today we're making this bee. Bit confusion. If you look at the instruction book, we can make it really easy. So let's start. First, we have to make a magic ring. First, let's make a magic ring. So we're going to wrap it around our index and middle finger once and twice and cross it on the side. Now we're going to use a 2.5mm hook and go underneath the first loop and grab the first loop and twist it. Now we're going to yarn over on the ripping yarn, pull out the loop. We have made a magic ring. We're going to make 6 single crochets in the magic loop. Now we're going to stitch mark the first stitch. Now we can close up the magic ring by pulling on the tail. Now we're going to do an increase on round 2. We're going to start by doing 1 single crochet and marking the first stitch of the round. Now we'll continue doing it. We're going to the exact same stitch and do another single crochet. Now we're going to repeat this pattern until we reach the stitch mark. I've now completed round 2. You should have 12 stitches. So now we're going to move on to the next round. We're going to do 1 single crochet in the first stitch. Then we're going to mark the stitch. Now we're going to go to the next one and do an increase. We're going to continue doing this pattern. 1 single crochet, then an increase. We're going to continue doing this until we reach the stitch marker. Now we're going to start the next round. We're going to do 2 single crochets, then 1 increase. So you're going to move the stitch marker on the first V that we just made. Now let's continue. We're going to go to the next stitch and make 1 single crochet. Now the next stitch we're going to do an increase. An increase means you make 2 stitches in one. So we're going to do 1 single crochet, again 1 single crochet. Now we're going to do an increase. We're going to just repeat this pattern until we reach the end. Now we're going to do 3 single crochets and an increase. Remove the stitch marker. We're going to do 2 more of single crochet. So 1 and 2. Now if we got 3 single crochet, we're going to make an increase. So 1 and 2. We're going to make 3 single crochets, an increase, 3 single crochet, and increase all around. Now we're going to make 36 stitches. So we're going to start by making 4 single crochet. Remove the stitch markers first. Now we're going to make 3 more single crochets. So 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to make an increase. So now we're going to do 36 single crochets all across. So just no single crochets. And then move up, stitch marker. There's no increases in this round, just making the exact same amount of stitches that we had. So 1 single crochet in each. We've now completed round 7. We have to repeat this until we get to round 9. Move up the stitch marker. I have completed round 7 to 9. Now we're going to flip the ball inside out. Now we're going to make the face. We're going to use the black yarn and our dotting needle. First, we're going to start by making a knot. Not a slip knot, but like a knot. I have completed the face. Now we're going to move on to the next round. Now we're going to make 1 single crochet. Now we're going to use our black yarn. So we're going to do 1 more single crochet. And we're going to use the black yarn to yarn over. So we're going to get it caught on a hook. And now we're going to do black yarn all around our bee. We're going to do 36 single crochet all across the bee. Then we're going to start with single crochet. And we're going to just continue doing that until we reach the stitch marker, which is the end of the round. I'm on my last 2 stitches of round 10. So we're just going to finish up that round and we're going to do the exact same 2 more times so we get a bit of thickness. So we're going to continue it 2 more times. Now we have completed the back side. Now we'll go back to the yellow. Now we're going to use the yellow yarn to make 3 more rounds like we did with the yellow yarn. So I'm just going to make 1 single crochet. Instead of pulling out a loop, you use the yellow yarn to pull out those loops. Now we're just gonna mark the new round using our stitch marker. Below B. Now we're gonna continue with 3 rounds of 36 single crochet all across like we did with the black yarn. Now we're going to do 3 rounds of black yarn. So first we have to start with this level. Single crochet, and we're going to use the black yarn to yarn over blue. Now we're going to continue doing this until we have 3 rounds of black like we had here. Now we're going to change colors again into yellow. We're going to do a single crochet and use the yellow yarn to pull through. Now we're just going to pull these 2 yarns to adjust it. We're going to change the stitch marker into the new stitch that we just made. We're going to do 3 more rounds of yellow and I'll meet you there. Now I've completed 3 rounds of yellow. Now is the best time to weave in all of those beads. So I'm just going to mark where I need to put my hook and flip it inside out. We're going to weave in all of these ends. You can weave in if you like, it's optional. But if you do like to weave in, you're going to use your darning needle and pull through the eye of the darning needle. Then we have to randomly choose a loop and make sure you cannot see that from the front side of the bead. We're just going to do that a couple of times and we're just going to cut the ends off. So one more time, we're going to insert it into the nearest stitch that we can find, probably that one, and just put that one. Now for this yellow one, we're going to repeat the same thing and just hide it a couple of times, that will be enough. In the rest of the yarn, we can cut it up and we can also use it as yarn. So just into now we're going to find a spot in the yellow yarn section and you're just going to make sure just through all the way and you can't see it from the front. I'm going to do that with all of the yarn tails. Now I have weaved in all of the ends. We're going to do 4 single crochet and a decrease. We're just going to continue doing that. So we're going to do 1 single crochet and we're going to mark the first stitch. Now we're going to make another single crochet in the next stitch. We're going to do 2 more single crochets in the next and the next stitch. Now I've completed 4 single crochets. Now we're going to do a decrease stitch. We're going to do like a single crochet. We're going to yarn over, pull out through the first loop only. So we'll have 2 loops. We're going to go to the next loop, pull out a loop. We're going to yarn over, pull through the first one only. Now we're going to yarn over, pull through all of them at once. This is called a decrease stitch. Now we're going to do 4 single crochets again. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to do a decrease stitch again. We're going to yarn over only through the first loop, through the next loop, pull out a loop, yarn over through the first one, then all of them at once. We're going to repeat this pattern until we reach the stitch marker. So we will have 30 stitches. Now we're going to do 3 single crochets and a decrease. So we'll start the round by making 1 single crochet and marking the round with our stitch marker. Now we're going to make 2 more single crochets in the next 2 stitches. We go underneath. So that's 1 and 2. Now we're going to do a decrease stitch. We're going to pull out the first loop only. We're going to go into the next loop, pull out a loop, yarn over through the first one only. Now we're going to go through all of them at once. We're going to do 3 single crochets in the next 3 stitches. Now we're going to make a decrease again. We're going to go pull out first loop only. We're going to go to the next loop, first loop only, then all of them at once. We'll just continue this until we reach the end. Now we're going to do 2 single crochets and a decrease. So we're going to mark the stitch. I'm going to do 1 more single crochet and a decrease. Now we're going to pull out through all of them at once. We're going to make 2 more single crochet, 2, and a decrease. And we're going to go to the next round. Pull out them all at once. Now we're just going to continue doing this until we reach the end of this round. So we will have 18 stitches. Now we're gonna sew in using our fiber tail. We're gonna pull out a big loop and mark it using a stitch marker so our work won't redo. So we're gonna just sew it with some fiber tail. We're gonna just fill it up little by little. Now we're gonna alternate by using single crochet and decreases. We're gonna make one single crochet and one decrease all across. So the first single crochet, now we're gonna make a decrease. Now we're gonna pull out the all the knots and we're gonna make one single crochet. We're going to make one decrease. Pull out the all. We're just gonna continue it until we reach the stitch mark. Now we're gonna just do 6 decreases all across the round. We're going to go to the next loop. Pull out a loop. Now we're gonna just pull through the first one and all the other ones. Now we're gonna mark this round so we'll know that's the first round. This is our last round. We're just gonna continue doing decreases until we reach the end. At the end of this round, we will have 6 stitches left. So I'll meet you at the stitch mark. Now we have completed the body of the bee and we can just fasten off and just make it tight as possible. Now we're gonna take off the stitch marker. Now we're gonna use our darning needle to sew this into the bee, inside the bee. Now we're gonna just go through random loops, like on the opposite side, and connect our bee. So we will have a nice and closed bee. We can just use our hands to make our bee a bit more how we want it. And we're just gonna go through some loops again and again until we got a closed back of the bee. Now we're gonna just insert it into a random loop and pull out the yarn, and we're just gonna make sure the end is inside it, and we're just gonna stuff it inside this. Now we're gonna make the wings of the bee. We're gonna start by making a magic ring. We're gonna do 2 parallel lines and cross it on the side. We're gonna go underneath the first loop and grab the sticky loop and twist it. We're gonna yarn over on the working yarn, pull out the loop, tighten it, and there we have our magic ring. Now we're gonna make 8 single crochets in the magic ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now we're gonna mark the first stitch using a stitch marker, so we'll know that that's the first round. We're gonna pull the tail and tighten the magic ring. Now we're gonna make increases all around across the 8 stitches. At the end of this round, we'll have 16 stitches. So we're gonna use our stitch marker to mark the first round. And now we're gonna make one more stitch in the exact same. So we're gonna go into the exact same loop. Well, we're going to make 2 single crochets in the next one as well. We're gonna go in, pull out a loop, pull through 2. We're gonna go to the same exact loop. Now for the next round, we're going to make single crochet and an increase. For the next round, we're going to do a single crochet and an increase again. Now we're going to do 36 single crochets, 1 in each. Now I've completed one of the wings of the bee. Now we're going to fasten off and make the exact same thing one more time. Now we're going to assemble these 2 wings on top of the bee like that. So we're going to use our darning needle and use one at the end. And we're just going to pull it through. Just going to make sure the good side is on the top and the tail sticking out is on the bottom. So we're going to make sure it's on the top of the bee, and now we're just going to push it in and position it, and we're just going to pull it through the bee like that. And now we can just push it through and put it inside this. And the other tail, we're going to do the exact same, and also with the other wing as well. Completed my bee. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.